Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you once again from the East Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by my counterpart, also on the East Coast right now, Nate Weitzer. Another great article up on playpicks.com for you guys from Nate to start the week with a nice slate tonight. Some DFS stuff in there as well as always. We did have a gift card winner on Friday, got the Brodies points, rebounds, and assists at 38 total. So we'll get that out for you and also have another couple options up here in this week for you guys for some gift cards to win. Make sure you are liked and subscribed to that video and to the page so we can get you in the comments and if eligible for those gift cards. Let us know who you guys are betting on, as always, all that good stuff. And if you do need a FanDuel or DraftKings account still, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com. Find all those local listings in your area. Nate, let's jump into the slate for tonight on Monday.
Yeah, we are getting down the stretch here and injuries are piling up, but there's still value to be found on this slate. Magic plus 1.5 at Pistons. We have the Pacers plus 3 at Wizards. Game with play-in implications. And then a West Coast game with play-in implications. Warriors plus 3 at Pelicans. The Blazers on a second half of a back-to-back are plus 2 at the Hawks. The Sixers on their back-to-back are minus 5 at the Bulls. Your New York Knicks plus 2.5 at the Grizz. The Spurs plus 7.5 at the Jazz. And then the Nuggets minus 4 at the Lakers, who could be without LeBron. Aggravated that ankle injury last night. But looking at the lines for me, Josh, the first thing I notice is the Sixers only minus 6. Now down to minus 5 in some spots at a Bulls team that could be without both Zach LaVine and Nikola Vucevic. Vuce had to leave late, or it was a late scratch on Saturday. I mean, without those guys, they just have absolutely no offense. Even without LaVine, they're only averaging 104 points per game. Simply not going to get it done against the Sixers team led by Embiid, who just has roasted the Bulls lately. 32 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, getting 12.8 free throw attempts per game, changing games with his blocks, almost 4 blocks per game, his last 5 meetings against the Bulls. No coincidence that the Sixers have won those 5 by an average of 12.6 points per game. The Sixers have not been as effective on the road, and they're lately have not covered, but that's because they've been playing good teams on the road. You go back a little bit, they've won 10 of their last 11 against bad teams and covered in almost all those games on the road. The Bulls are just 7-27 against winning teams straight up, and they've lost 14 of their last 15 at home against winning teams. For some reason, they're worse. They're 13-18 against the spread at home. And at home recently, their defense has kind of really sputtered. They were killing it in three-point defense. Now they're 23rd at home over the last month. So I think the Sixers, with just a half-game lead over the Nets, are going to play their guys. They're going to try to get ahead early and just pound this team and then coast so that they can concentrate on what's next.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, Zach LaVine's, doubtful as of right now. And, Vooch is still questionable day to day. There's 0 injuries for Philly right now listed at 5 points. I feel really good about a team with plenty to play for right now, still down the stretch, as you mentioned. As we are talking about teams with things to play for down the stretch, we got another one here tonight. The Knicks, as you mentioned, my Knicks taking on Memphis. The Grizzlies, we know what New York has done as of late in April. They really stepped up their game on offense. They have best net rating in that month. And also you look at what they do on offense and why they were able to up their offense. They took 3 more 3-pointers a game, maintained the same clip of about 38% from 3 as a team, which is something that they've been really using to beat teams on offense at this point. You see Julius Randle's assist rate go up in that month as well, as he's been able to find shooters. And the Knicks still remain in about the top 10 of assisted 3-point field goals made. So I'm really liking what you're seeing from them. And then as far as what they do well that will be able to combat Memphis, they limit their own turnovers. They're 7th in the league in their on offense in terms of limiting their own turnovers. And Memphis is 2nd in the league in fast break points and points off turnovers. They have the most steals in the NBA right, as of now. So you still see a lot of the Knicks being able to stop them, which is something we saw recently in their last matchup. The Knicks as an away underdog, which is what they are tonight. I like that they're getting 3 points. They're 14-7 against the spread there, and they are coming off the second leg of a back-to-back tonight. 8-4 against the spread with no rest. So there's nothing to not like about what they're able to do in the situation they're in tonight. And Memphis has been sputtering a bit in terms of dropping in offense, dropping in defense as well, and not being able to they have been able to make threes at a much higher rate. But it's something they've been a little bit dependent on as of late. And I don't think that that's something that they'll have an advantage against a Knicks team that defends the three as well as anybody.
Yeah, I'm also looking at the under here just because Memphis depends on those paint points, and New York is so good at stopping that. And the pace has really declined for Memphis lately. As you mentioned, so has the offense. I think at home, this could go under 220 at the Grindhouse. And I'm also thinking, I know this is a ridiculously scary take, but under 246 with the Wizards hosting the Pacers tonight. It's just such a huge total. And these teams, yes, they have a reputation for going over. Yes, the Pacers just dropped 152 in the biggest road win, I think, ever in the NBA against a Thunder team that wouldn't even play second-year man Ty Jerome. So that's just an outlier in every way. The Pacers are going to find the sledding a lot tougher in virtually a playoff game with these teams 9-10, and Washington really breathing down the net, trying to get that 9 spot. And just at home recently, we talked about the Wizards were actually leading the NBA in defensive rating at home for a little bit. They're 6th over their last 7 games, home games, and they're down to 4th in pace, still pretty fast, but they're just allowing 113 points per game in that span, 5th best field goal defense. And the Pacers, despite playing at the fastest pace on the road or wherever, are 7th in defensive rating on the road over the last couple weeks. If they get Miles Turner and or Malcolm Brogdon back in the lineup tonight, their defensive rating drops about 4 points with each of those guys being a factor there. Either way, I think the under for the Pacers, which is now up to 121.5. I like the Wizards' ability to keep them under that. And I like the Wizards in this game. The Pacers have struggled against the conference, 12-23 against the spread. They're only 12-17 against the spread after a win. They only cover 38% of the time when they're dogs. And the Wizards have won 9 straight against losing teams. They're really underrated. You could almost consider them a winning team at this point based on where they're at. And Westbrook, obviously a triple-double machine. If you have a FanDuel account, you can get him plus 142 for a triple-double in a win. That's definitely some juice that you would like to get rather than just the Wizards -3.
Yep, 100% feel it. I think we're still getting a lot of value on the Wiz. I actually feel comfortable -3. I think, as you mentioned, they should be considered an above 500 team at this point when you see what they've been doing with Bradley Beal and Russ Westbrook in the lineup for the last 12 games in a row or so. So feeling good about everything you said there, including the under. That 246 is crazy. I'm looking at another under that I also think is pretty crazy at 237 right now, the total for the Warriors and the Pelicans. Obviously, we know what happens at the Smoothie King Center. The Pelicans put up points and they give up points. But starting with who's not playing tonight, for Golden State, we've already got Kelly Oubre, Eric Pascal, and Damian Lee out. Wiggins is questionable. And at that point, at this point, if Wiggins doesn't play, especially, that means that 5 of the top 8 scorers for the Dubs will be out. Basically they're a one-man wrecking crew, as we know, with what Curry's done in April, insane numbers from 3 and just overall points over, 31.5 or so in the month. And the problem is just going to be, not only will he be without a ton of scorers tonight, he'll also, those scorers are the only other people pulling threes. If none of those guys play, including Wiggins, Curry will be the only guy who even averages 3-point attempts a game, and he'll be starting alongside Michael Mulder, who has been looking all right, 11 points in 5 straight games, but 11 points as your second highest scorer, not going to do the trick. That's why they've gone 5 under in 5 of their last 7 due to a lot of those injuries, guys in and out of the lineup, and Curry being the only offense that they really have. Conversely, they've been really, really good on defense in their last 12 games or so. They've got the number 2 defensive rating. The Pellies actually are also up there in defensive rating. They're both showing a lot more on offense and a lot more on defense and a lot less on offense. The Pellies, who used to be at the top of the league in offensive rating, have dropped down to 9th at about 115. And if you look at why, it's over their last 18 games or so, basically the month of April, they've been 25th in offensive rating. They're already bad 3-point shooting, which is down to about 35%, good for about 25th in the league. That was even worse in April. It was second worst in the league, down to about 33%. So, I don't know who's going to continue, they're going to find to hit those threes tonight. Josh Hart is out. Nikhil Alexander-Walker is out. Both guys are capable of hitting threes. So you're going to look at guys like Najee Harris at this point that you're depending on. Lonzo's still not pulling too well from three, even though he had a really nice game against a really lowly T-Wolves defense the other night. So I don't see anything from either of these teams to make me feel comfortable at 237. I feel really good going under that. And I would, that's actually climbed up a half a point since the opening. If it even dropped a couple, I'd still feel good at around 234 or 5.
It's Najee Marshall. Najee Harris was drafted by the Steelers. I guess you got some NFL draft on your mind, but that's all good. The point is the same. Pelicans shorthanded and leaning on their defense more. And yeah, this is consistent with the trend I'm talking about, which is if you have a playoff atmosphere, there is more defense played down the stretch. I think something like 60% of playoff games will go under. Those totals will go down. And these are some ridiculously high totals that are based on the overall season sample where, yeah, Pelicans and Wizards games were going over 240 at home. But now that's not really the case anymore. These teams have turned it around. And speaking of a little playoff rematch, just a quick hit. Lakers are hosting the Nuggets, and LeBron got injured last night, could be out. Dennis Schroeder is ruled out due to protocols. And the Lakers are 0-5 with a 103 net offensive rating without Schroeder. That's the worst in the league. Over a larger sample size, 8-13 with the 5th worst offensive rating without LeBron. I don't think that they can get it done against the Nuggets without either of those guys or with LeBron at all half speed. And then they're looking ahead, the Lakers, they have the Clippers on Thursday. So I would not be surprised if LeBron just rests up for that one. And lets the Nuggets do what they do. Another player performance double. Jokic double-double gets you plus 106 odds, which is basically just the money line. The man gets a double-double every night. So, yeah, love the Nuggets to keep doing what they're doing, win 9 out of 10 after the Jamal Murray injury. And from a DFS perspective tonight, gotta like Kyle Kuzma if Schroeder's out. Mentioning that Warriors game with so many people out, I like Kent Bazemore, Juan Toscano Anderson, maybe even Jordan Poole if you can't afford Steph, who is likely to go off again. If Steven Adams remains out, Hernan Gomez on the Pelicans side is some good value. Domantas Sabonis could have a huge game tonight against the Wizards after his huge game last time out. I also like guys like O'Shea Brissett and Rui Hachimura in a game that's just going to be played with such pace that rebounds will be coming easy. And if DeJounte Murray remains out for the Spurs, DeRozan is back. Lonnie Walker should still see a big role, so that's some good value with Lonnie there.
Yep, good stuff. There's a lot of good plays tonight as we see a lot of guys in and out of the lineups towards the end of this season. So plenty of value to find out there. Hopefully we are helping you guys out as we've had a pretty good week last week. Looking for another big one this one. We'll be back with another show as always tomorrow. And as for tonight, happy betting.